So you can see right now on EURAUD on, let's say, the daily here. Okay. On the daily, we've broken outside of this structure here and then obviously came back to retest it. Now, if we zoom back out here, you can see that in this area here on the daily, above this area are basically going to be orders, market make orders that market makers can grab. So what can we expect out of this on the smaller time frame? So on the smaller time frame, I have this as a reset going higher. So if we're going to go higher, essentially, we're basically going to go up higher to grab orders that are sitting up here. Okay. So if that's going to happen, that's already, going to give us basically a full cycle to go anywhere in this area here on the daily time frame. So for right now, I'm going to be looking for buy setups to continue to look for buy setups on this particular pair. Now, so far, we're averaging in the 145s on this pair. And so if 145 is going to take us out to about 430 some odd pips, give or take, for the perfect 3 times ADR, we're already pretty close to being there. So we would expect, or I would expect, to have some kind of a move up to grab orders and then create that peak formation and then look for sells from that point. Okay. So you may get one more buy or something like that. And then look for a peak formation because we're already at that particular area. EURJPY. So EURJPY here, you can see we've moved all the way back down again. So I want to say that this is already a full cycle. So 450 pips or so. And we were averaging, what is it, 183? So it's right there at about 2.5 times ADR. Okay. Now, if we look at the daily on this, pay attention to this right here. So pay attention to that block there. Okay. Why do you think that there's so many pins into that block? Right? There's pins to the block there because that block has orders in it. So the question is quite simple, is do they go all the way down to here, okay, to basically complete this move? Or did they just use this here to grab these orders and then go up? So you got to ask yourself, what is the likelihood, based on how this looks right now on the daily, what is the likelihood that this candle is going to close higher than this or lower than the previous one? Is all you got to ask yourself. Okay. And based on that, should give you your directional bias. So on this one here, this right here should be a new peak formation low. And we should be looking for more buys. What I want to see, though, is I want to see this daily candle. I want to see this daily candle close up at least, I would say, 50 or 75% of the previous candle. I think for me, what I would like to see on the 1 hour time frame is I would want to see price action close above the 141,500 area. If we can close above 141,500, I think for me that would give me enough confidence to be like, we're going to go back up and not worry about, coming back down into this area on the daily. Okay. But again, I would pay attention to this daily candle. If this daily candle closes below this one here, then that's a very strong sign that we're actually going back down again. And if that's the case, then this would turn into basically a reset, right? This would turn here into a reset, and then you'd have another full cycle basically going down into this area down here. Because, I mean, this area to here is about 370, 350. So it's 350. So that's enough for another cycle. Okay. So 141,500 would be the area that I'm looking out for. EUROCAD. On the daily, you can see we've broken clear of that previous area of structure, and we've now entered into basically that huge gap of area here between the previous structure and the most, the closest structure, where above it are going to be orders. Now, a couple things that I see on this is the fact that if you notice this huge move here straight down really didn't have enough, no retracements at all. It's just a straight move. Now, if you go back to where price action is now, clearly we're retracing, right? So the question is, this retracement here, okay, is it a retracement to go higher, or is it just a retracement to go back down to this area? So what are you looking for? Is you're looking for this right here, the bottom of this candle. I mean, 140, I don't like that number, 147, call it 147,700. Okay, 147,700. You want price, if it's going to go higher, you want price to stay above that. If you like using even numbers, you can use 147,500. If you like using those kind of numbers, but you want price to stay above that. Okay, as long as price stays above that, you should see higher movement in price, and ultimately going back up to the 150s. Now, on the smaller time frames, like this time frame here, if you measure this out, you're already at 445 or so. And so if you're already at 445 and you're averaging, what is it, 109? At 109. So like you already know, this is already 4 times ADR. This is already technically a peak formation high. Okay. So 147,500 is basically right here, this area right here. So if you're looking at it from a 1 hour or 3 hour time frame, you're paying attention to this right here. You want price to stay above this. As long as price stays above this, then on the daily time frame, this should continue to go higher, which would in turn mean that you would possibly get a reset to occur somewhere around here. Okay. If price cannot stay above this area here, then we're just going to come back down and continue the cycle, and obviously and come back down again. Now, for me, I would probably be looking for sells on this, for the fact we're coming off a new peak formation, and we also have news that hit this area right here. Okay, so I would expect price to come at least down into this area here. So I would look for sells to come into this area first. That would be the first thing I'd be looking for. Euro pound, that also is coming off a new peak formation low. You could see now the huge drop off that we've gotten on this. And I mean, honestly, on the daily, you could see that it's really nothing but just moving sideways. And so internally, that could also mean as well that we're not going to do very much on this particular pair, but just move back and forth, move sideways even on the smaller 3-hour, 1-hour time frames. So for me, what I would be paying attention to is if I were to trade this pair is this area here. Does price stay above or below that area? If price stays above that area, I continue to look for buys. If it breaks and goes below this area, then I would be looking for this to be a reset. EURUSD. So EURUSD on the smaller time frame, on the 1-hour time frame, we've already created a new peak formation here because that's already moved up about 400 pips and it's averaging about 97. So we're already at 3 times ADR. So you already know that this is a new peak formation here that's created. So we're looking for sell setups on EURUSD. Okay. Very interestingly enough, that on the daily, if you look at the daily, what happened on the daily, price out, all that news and stuff ran up, and all it did was basically cover the gap that was left from previous news, right? And then went straight down again. So I'm going to be looking for sells on this particular pair. The targets that I would have for sells are going to be here. So targets for me on this is going to be here. That's going to be the first target. That would be my second target here. And then obviously down here. So these would be targets that I would expect price to come to, get a reaction out of it, and then see, does it drop below it? Cool. If it does, there's my next target there. Same, kind of scenario basically. Okay. Euro Swiss. This one is what? This one's averaging about 68 or so per day. We're already at 284. So that was already 4.1. That's new peak formation. So you should be looking for sells on this. What I would be looking for this on the daily as well is I'm looking for price to come back down into this area down here. So between 98 and 98,500. So look for sells to come into that area. So basically, if you look on the smaller time frame, it's this right here and this area here. So this box here. Okay. So I'd continue to look for sells. EURNZD. I believe that this one is probably going to reset. I would hope that this one is going to reset and just give us 175, whatever, 500 up here at the very top. Okay, it gives me that. I have that vibe from it that it wants to go higher and it's pushing higher a little bit at a time. It's not very, it's not like this, right? It's just slowly climbing, slow and steady. And then once we get up here, we should see a good reaction. So basically like a reaction of here, let's take it, and then we can go back down again. So I wouldn't be shocked or surprised if this resets on the smaller time frame. Okay, because if you look on the 1-hour time frame, here are your orders, and that's exactly where they went to grab orders. So I would very likely assume that they're going to go up from here. Okay, so as much as I would like to be selling this, this gives me a feeling of of reset and, to go higher. So just be aware of that on this one. Pound JPY, very similar to EUROJPY actually, where this has already moved. What is it? 500 pips. Obviously, that's going to be enough for a full cycle. So that's going to give you a new peak. But again, you have, if you look on the daily there, you have all this area down here. Okay, where price wants to go down to, it looks like. So I wouldn't be shocked or surprised if price just came down here and just kind of finish this off here. Okay. What I would be paying attention to is that daily candle. Where does this daily candle that's open right now close? Does it close below or does it not? If it closes below, very likely we're going to continue to come down into this area, maybe 158, 157, 500, give or take, but somewhere in this area. And if that's the case, then this is going to end up being another reset. Pound AUD, you're still coming off a reset here, obviously, so we're still looking for more buys. If we look at the daily, we have nothing but space. We have all this space to cover. So continue to look for buys on a pound AUD. Buys on pound AUD. Watch for retracements first. Get retracements. You're going to get a retracement first. Get the retracement and then look for buys. What is this? Pound CAD. Pound CAD came off a reset. It was averaging about 125 pips or so. So we're at 324. We're right at 2.5 times ADR. You can see also on the daily, we're at the same point of structure here. There is a possibility, obviously, that we can continue to go higher. This is in an area right now where it could create a peak formation high. And if it does, you'd be looking for sells. I would wait for the peak formation to be created first. So what you'd want to see is basically a price action close below 167,800 to help confirm that. Okay, so if you could do that, that'll be a new peak formation, and then you can go from there. All right, but it's at 2.5 times ADR right now, so a peak formation essentially is imminent at some point. Pound NZD. Pound NZD also gives me the vibe of it wanting to go higher, at least into this area here. I don't know, call it that 2000 mark, that 2.0 area. So I would still be looking for buys on this pair. Or still be looking for buys on this pair. This pair is averaging about 176, so huge movements on this pair. And it's only because of those huge movements of 176, it's only at like 2.1 times ADR. So continue to look for buys on that one. This one here, pound USD, this is going to be, I believe, a new peak formation. It's averaging about 120. So that's about 2.7 times ADR. So that would be a new peak formation high here on this one. Same thing as your USD. I'd be looking for sells on this. I think a key important factor on this one specifically is you want to make sure that we close below this area right here. Okay, close below that. If we can close below that, we're going to have a full cycle down. Okay, but I would still look for sells on this. Pound Swiss, still looking for sells on it. The target on this one is going to be here. So 111,600, give or take. That would be my the first stop that I would take on this. So continue to look for sells on this particular pair. On the daily, it's not really doing nothing but just moving sideways on the daily. So we're looking ultimately to work our way back down to the bottom here on this. Okay. USDJPY, I believe this is already, this is at 170 a day. It's 831 pips move. 831 pip move. Talk about a move. How deep is this move going to go? Well, if you look at the daily, I mean, the move itself is basically down here, right? So we're still really looking for more sells out of this pair. Now, the question is, how would you break this up? Because there's two cycles in here. So how would you break it up? Well, if you look for the average, if it's averaging about 170, I mean, if it's averaging 170, you're looking at, for 4.5 is about 765 pips or so, right? So if we do, this is 700, 727 right here, that would be enough. And then this obviously would be a reset. So you can map it like this. And then now you would have your way to get down lower. So until we get any kind of a actual movement here, this is still going to look for more sells. Just keep looking at the daily and just keep paying attention to the daily. We're going to be continuing to look for sells on this. So USDCAD is coming off of this major move here on the daily. And you can see here on the daily, it wicked all the way up here. What's the likelihood of this daily candle ending up being red or blue? You tell me. Very likely it's going to be red, right? So on the 3-hour time frame here, this is where that pullback happened. Now, if we fib it, where did the pullback go to? Pullback went to 618. So as long as that holds, we're still looking for sells. Okay. So still look for sells on this one. USD Swiss, we're still waiting on this one to figure out what it wants to do, because it backtracked all the way, I want to say 76. Yeah, to 786. So I'm still waiting on this one to see whether it wants to reset or not. But this has already moved back about 200 pips or so. If you look at the daily, it's not giving you any kind of indication at all, because really on the daily, the structure here is right here at the bottom, So if anything, I would tell you to avoid this pair until it figures out what it wants to do. Gold. So gold is going to have a peak formation, a new peak formation form here. We have to have some kind of retracement or sell-off on gold, because it's made this huge run up, and there has to be profit taking. There has to come back, on this particular pair. So on gold, I would be looking for this on a 3-hour time frame, this to create a new peak formation high, and then look for sells on this pair. Now, as far as the selling goes, all I want the selling to do is to cover stuff from news, from previous news. So, these candles here were all news candles or stuff that happened around the world with either the banks going out or FOMC or whatever the case may be. Okay. So I'm looking for price to come down into these areas. Now, is it going to do that obviously this week or not? Probably not. No, this is probably going to take some time to do. But I do expect some kind of retracement on gold. Okay. We've had a very big, decent run on gold for some time, and we need to get a retracement down. If it wants to go higher, that's cool, but at some point we need to get some retracement. Okay, so look for sells on gold before we can go higher. Because ultimately, I do think we are going to go higher on gold, because more and more people are not trusting banks. They're not trusting other people with their money, so they want to put it into assets, into different assets. So, and that's basically gold, silver, could be Bitcoin, things of that nature. NAS 100. So NAS 100, we're going to be in an area right now where I do believe we could create a peak formation high. I do kind of want to see what we saw here, maybe one more time, because all in this area here are going to be orders that are sitting there. Whether or not they were all grabbed on this one little pin, on this pin or not, I don't know. But I do know that there are definitely going to be orders that are sitting here. And if this is going to make another move back down again, then we need to grab as many orders as possible and then do that. On the smaller time frame, you're going to be looking for basically a new peak formation high to be forming, is what you would be looking for on this. Okay, new peak formation high to form, and then once you get that, then you look for sells. On US 30, this is already broken past this major structure here. This below here, actually, all this, right? All this area here was full of orders before. Okay, so what I'm looking to see on US 30 is whether or not this daily candles close and these daily candle close above this. If we can close above this, then we're going much higher all the way up here to cover this candle from previous news. Okay. If this daily candle can't close this right here is going to end up being a reset on the 3-hour time frame, and then you're going to get more sells, and you're going to have a lot of sells because there's nothing here to stop price from going back down to at least 3,000. Okay, so pay attention to this on the daily. See, do we close above that or not? If we don't close above that, very likely you get a reset. Also, very likely then this right here becomes a peak formation high, and then look for sells as well. NZDJPY, still looking for sells. I mean, we're pretty much at the bottom of this now. So we've gone up, or we've gone down, excuse me, about 359 pips already. And what is it averaging? So 102. So we're well over 3.5 now. So we're waiting for a peak formation to form on this. And obviously you can see on the daily, we're back at that same level that we've been at since May of 2022. Just keep touching that same level, same level, same level, same level. So until something changes, okay, we expect that level to hold. That level does not hold. You have a long ways to go down because you don't have nothing here to hold price besides down here at this bottom here, somewhere around 76, let's say. Okay. So I would expect to have a peak formation form here. Once the peak formation forms, then you can look for buys. This one here is a failed reset. So obviously you're going to have a new peak formation and you can look for sells on NZDUSD. As far as where you would want to look for sells to, at least the bottom here, this 60, 900, basically where the this peak formation low is where you want to see them come down to. NZDCAD, this also same thing. Is going to be a failed reset. And you're going to have another peak formation form here. And same scenario, just look for more sell setups on this one. NZD Swiss, you're still looking for sell setups on NZD Swiss. You see we're still coming off a peak. We got still some ways to go, even on the daily here. If we can at least come down to 56,500 would be the target, basically the previous peak formation low here. But on the daily here, you can see that. One interesting thing about this on the daily is if you look at all these wicks here, okay, if this were to hold just here at this area, and I'm only mentioning this because you could see this move and then come back down almost to retest that same area again, right? If these areas here hold, this would basically be a new form of an uptrend on the daily time frame that's forming, because these would be the lower lows, and then obviously this would be the lower high. If this area holds here and it continues to go up, then now you first have your first higher high, and then we can go ahead and start to create a way bigger time frame of, you know, going back up again on NZD Swiss. But again, we haven't proven that yet, or that hasn't been proven yet off of price. So until that actually happens, we still look for more sells. AJ is almost at the end of the current cycle right now. We're at 400 and some odd pips, 410 almost, and you're averaging about 120. So we're already at what, 3.4 times ADR. You can see on the daily here that, I mean, we're into no man's land. So very likely if we get a reset here, or if we get a peak formation low here to form, okay, I wouldn't be shocked or surprised if it became a reset, because there's the peak formation low itself is being formed in an area that there is no real structure to. It's out of no man's land, you know? So because of that, there's a very strong likelihood that that peak formation wouldn't hold and it would just continue to drop, which would basically cause a reset. Okay. So keep that in mind if you trade that pair. AUD Swiss, This thing on the daily, man, I mean, obviously looks like it wants to just continue to drop. And so if that's the case on the daily here, you're going to end up getting obviously a reset. If that's the case, we've only gone up, what, 200 pips or so? We've gone up about 200 pips, and it's averaging 65. This would actually be a peak right here. So you'd be looking for, continuing to look for sell setups on this. So continue to look for sells on AUD Swiss. AUDCAD or AUD USD. This one has gone up 193. So 193, and it's averaging what, 79 or so. So it's literally right there, 2.4, 2.5 times ADR. On this particular pair, because it's a USD pair, I would still be looking for more sells, because the other USD pairs are going to do the same thing overall. So I'd be looking for sells on AUDUSD on this one. The sell setups on this at least want to cover this news candle that was here. So I would look for sell setups to get to 64. So 0.64. AUDNZD. Very similar to the other one, where it wants to continue to look like it's going to drop. So I wouldn't be shocked or surprised if this becomes a reset here. So I'm just waiting for this to break these two previous peak formation lows. Once it breaks these two peak formation lows, you continue to look for sells. The obvious target is 105 down here at the bottom. Okay. Below that, it's going to go, it would be much lower, obviously, but we're working with what we have right now, which is 105. So I would look for this to reset and then obviously go down to 105. AUDCAD. This one here is, I want to say this is already a full 181. I don't think that's enough. It's like 2.3 times ADR. So not enough. But this does look like on the daily, it wants to go lower, back lower, and retest this. So this one here might turn into a situation of where we get either a reset or a failed reset occurring. But look at the daily here. That looks like it wants to go lower. Okay. And if it goes lower, there's obviously nothing else here but to go lower back to this low. If that's the case, you're going to be looking at this as a failed reset or a reset. So if you trade this pair, it's coming off a peak formation low, but the daily tells me it wants to go lower. And obviously you could see price action wanting to go lower. Okay, so very likely that you should be looking for sells on this. And this is probably going to end up being either a reset or a failed reset at some point. Okay. All right. All right, Greasy, what pair were you talking about for the 13 as a peak?
Hey Mark, I was just looking at USDJPY. I was looking at Monday where I had it registered as a peak formation low, and where we're at today at 130, around like 130, 129.5 is where major structure is, and I have that from Monday all the way to Wednesday reset, and then coming down now. I have where on Friday I believe is where I have it where it hit peak formation low because we're at major structure. I mean, I know that ADR has gone up, but I've been counting the ADR from Wednesday all the way to Monday the 13th, which is about like 140.
Yeah.
ADR, so I had that registered at peak formation low.
So you basically have it as let me see. So this right here, you have it as a peak formation low. This you have it as a reset, right?
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah.
And then you have it from here to here,
No, all the way to
all the
where
way
we're
down
at
to
now.
the bottom.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I gotcha. And you get a full this was 557. I know you can get a full cycle from that for sure.
Right.
Obviously, I know
Right.
that.
Right.
I
Fact,
believe didn't I have it like this before, right? And then I changed it.
yeah, yeah, you did have it like that actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what we're seeing now is that, you know, we have reached structure, but there's obviously bigger structure below that. So it's changing the peak formation would justify like going all the way back down to the bottom. Because even if you have like where we're at right now as peak formation low, and then it goes up, resets all the way back down to structure, wouldn't that equal almost the same or no?
Well, the thing is that you can still have, right, from here to here, if you're depending on what ADR you're using, right? So if you're using, let's say 170, which is like what it calculated down here, right? You could get a full cycle from here to here, right? But if you're saying back here, if you go to like replay or whatever, because that's how I had it originally, was this ADR I believe was much lower, right? It was in the 140s, right? So if you go 140s, is it 569,
So
140?
about 4 ADR, yeah. You're
Yeah,
about
about
4
480
ADR.
yard, right. So that's why I had it here as a peak formation. That's why I had it like I did. The reason I changed it was because it made another move here and it was too long. There's a reason why I moved it. I have to look at the recordings from like 2 weeks ago, but there was a reason why I moved it down here. But if you're using the ADR, you know, that was on that cycle, you could still map it the same way, right? From this reset here to where that one is another 400 and some odd pips. What's the what's the cycle number? Is it still in the 140s at that point? I want to say it's pretty close to that, right? I'm like going blind here, bro. Yeah, it's like 150s now. It's in the 150s.
Yeah, and then it keeps going up. I know right now it's at like 190. Yeah, 190.
Yeah, so this would be 3 times ADR from here to here.
Okay, I see.
If it's 150, what, 154? Right, 154, and it's moved 458. Yeah, it's 2.9 times ADR. So you would have another cycle here and then basically another reset. So you'd have it
Okay,
like
so
this basically.
yeah.
And you're still you're still looking for basically more movement down, essentially, because you're really wanting to get down into this area here. So ultimately it just depends on what this does on the daily too. But until you get like an actual movement and one, like a peak formation, like a really good peak formation to form, like I think the first indication of that would be if it were to come up and break that, you know. Granted, I
Yeah,
think that I could see it though. If you were to fib this, right? If you were to fib this, you could see that even coming up into, as long as we can stay right here, we'd still be good for still looking for sells. This is the beauty of like of doing this like in real time, you know.
right. And no matter how, I mean, how you map it out, you still end up on major structure anyway.
You
So
still end up in the same, yeah, you still end up in the same thing. Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
that makes sense. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it.
As long as I think it's important to understand that as long as you're ending up in the same place, right? That's what matters the most. As long as you're ending up in the same place. Yeah, no worry, Raymond. What are the questions you guys have?
Hey, Mark, I got a question. Can you cover the spreads again? Like, you made a video not too long ago about the spreads and using that as your stop loss to kind of make the adjustment to put your spread, put your stop loss wherever the spread is at.
Yeah, so the spread is quite simple, right? Because every broker gives you the spread that, you know, to work with. And if you're using TradingView, the spread is basically the distance between this red line and that blue line. That spread is essentially how your broker makes money. Okay, the bigger that spread is, the more money they make. The smaller that spread is, the less money they make, right? And so if you want to take that into account, which you should take the spread into account when you're putting in your stop loss, is I know a lot of people, right? They put in their trade, their their entry, their stop loss, and then their take profit, right? And then price action does what price action does, comes down, possibly takes them out, and then still goes in that same direction, right? Well, the whole purpose of that video was just to make sure that everyone is accounting for their spread. Whenever you're going to take your entry, take the measuring and just measure out like how big is the spread. You know, is it 2 pips, 3 pips, 4 pips? Whatever the pips are, I would just add it to your stop loss. So that way you're just accounting for it. So
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was trying to do it, and it's like, you know, I was trying to herp and measure, but price was moving so much, and I just couldn't nail it. So I just was making an eyeball adjustment on what I thought it was.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it's gonna be, you know, within a certain, you know, price range or whatnots, right? So it typically jumps around the same distance. This is 1.7, around 1.7. So I would round it up to 2, you know?
Okay.
But like literally just keep it simple. Don't like overcomplicate it or anything. But you just want to account for whatever that is when you're actually taking the entry. So
right.
if you're doing a 15 pip stop loss and your spread is 2 pips, then make it 17 pips.
Got it.
That's all you're doing. You know? So that's really it. If you're trying to do this while you got news going on, that's a whole different scenario, because that shit's gonna be like you know, crazy spread out and shit. It's like doesn't even make sense. So keep it simple, but if you're trading during news and stuff, it's it'll be quite hectic.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. So think of liquidity. I mean, liquidity is just orders, where orders are sitting. So you just ask yourself, where would, if you look at a chart, right? Look at a basic chart. Here's a basic chart of Euro USD on a 3-hour time frame, right? Where do you think liquidity, or basically liquidity, all liquidity is where our orders stops, right? Either buy stops, sell stops, where our entry stops, like stop losses, things of that nature. If you're asking yourself, okay, where on this chart are likely places where orders would be sitting, where would you say?
I would say places of structure.
Say it one more time.
Places of structure.
Places of structure, right? So where are the obvious places of structure? So it would be down here, right? It would be here. It would be here. I mean, you could see what happens. Why would this be happening like this? Just ask yourself, why would it be happening?
To fool people into buying.
You know, there's only a certain reason why you would have this happen, when here is where you would have orders sitting. Or same thing for this area here. You have orders sitting. Or this area here. Look what happens. Right? Look what happens. That's all it is. So think of places where orders are as like flat planes. So you see how flat this is? You see how flat this is? You see how flat that is? You see how flat that is? You see how flat that is?
Got it. Thank you.
That's where market orders are. And it's fractal too. So, I mean, it's on any time frame. So depending on what specific time frame you're looking at, would depend on where, you know, the orders would be sitting for you, especially if you're like, you know, if you're doing intraday trading, right? Then you're mostly looking at a 15-minute time frame, right? So I mean, if you just look at, let's say, this 15-minute time frame, where would you suspect orders are? You know, if you look, where are the flattest places at? You know, you're looking at places like this. You're looking at places like this. And let's just talk about, you know, orders that would be for, like, you know, if this is going down, right? If this is going down, where are the obvious orders to the left? Well, they're probably going to be somewhere around here, right? Somewhere around here, right? That's it. If price was going up, okay, where are the orders going up? Well, it would be here, it would be here, and it would be here. If you want to even make it more simpler, you could just be like, orders are sitting above higher highs and higher lows. Orders are sitting below lower lows and lower highs. So I mean, when you really break it down, right? What is, right? What is all this? You know what I mean? When you really break, think about it, what is all this? Right, if you're going up, is higher highs, higher lows, and call it, you can give it whatever name you want to. Right? You can call it Jack's liquidity run. You can call it whatever the hell you want to, don't matter. You can give it whatever fancy name you want to, but it's all the same shit. It's all the same. All right, so how would CBDC affect the Forex market? I mean, I don't think it will, honestly, because Forex has to do with currencies, digital, whether it's digital or not. I don't think it matters. It's still going to be currency. You're still going to have, countries exchange currency. So I don't think that that's going to, I don't think it's going to have that much of an impact for the market, the currency market itself. I think it would have a huge impact on us as like human beings, because you wouldn't, let's say if they take cash away, fiat cash away, right? Now, who's really in control of money at that point? Who was that? Robert. Yeah, who would be in control of money at that point, Like, do you know what, the kind of things that they're doing in China right now? Like, look up the stuff that they're doing in China right now. Like, it's some crazy stuff. Like here in America, we have, in America, they have what, credit, credit scores and stuff like that, right? In China, they have like, they use that same model, but like to see whether or not you're a good person or not. And you get points like a video game, depending on like what you do, whether you pay your taxes on time, whether you pay your bills on time, whether you get points added or deducted. And if you do stuff that's really bad, like you can't buy airline tickets or go from city to city, like they restrict all kinds of stuff. So it's pretty bad, man. Are we still able to get 2 weeks worth of ADR on a 1 hour chart time frame? It's a good question. Let's see. I mean, that's a 1 hour chart, and you can get 1, 2, 3, 3.5 weeks. If that's what you're talking about, Samantha.
Yeah, so you remember how we were able to see the ADR kind of all the way back, but I just don't see it for.
Oh, that. I don't
month.
know. I haven't digged into any of the settings.
Oh, yeah, because I was like, we were only going by the one ADR. So normally, like, how you showed us before, how we take all of the ADRs and kind of round it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
I don't know. I don't know if it's in the settings. I mean, this whole thing is brand new, so I just started using it today, so I don't know.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Yeah, so I just started using it today. Show for 21 weeks, retain historical data. Here, I would probably say display ADR historical data. And then I would say, I don't know, put this at 5,000 and see what happens. There you go. Nope,
Bingo, got
it
it.
was just on there, but yeah, so that's what I would yeah, that's what I would change, is click on that. Where was it? Yeah, show this one, display historical data labels. I mean, this is, again, this is a new indicator. It's, I mean, you know, it's kind of like a updated version, right? But I mean, it still does the exact same principles and stuff, you know? It just fixed a lot of bugs that were in from the original one.
Okay,
And
got it.
I
Thank
just,
you.
and yeah, for Jack who's asking, I mean, I just got it today. So I haven't even used it. That's because it's under a different name, Jack. It's under a different name. You have to search for diddly. It's a DIDDLY. You have to search for diddly. And it's the first, there's only one there, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's important as well as if you trade different things. So like if you trade, you know, one of the biggest things that we had were the ADRs and stuff, how it's all wacky and stuff with, if it wasn't currencies. Well, that's because that original indicator was never intended to be used outside of currencies. So if you trade crypto, then switch it to Bitcoin. If you trade like NAS 100 or gold or US 30, then you want to do like futures, you know? If you can even use it for stocks too, for large or small cap stocks. What are you searching for? Diddly, yeah. Just search for diddly. It's right there. What are the questions you guys have? Any other questions? You found it though, right, Jack?
No, I still haven't found it. I come up with something called diddly, diddle in the middle, but I haven't found diddly. I even searched under Rob's name and nothing.
If you, I don't know, did you do community? I don't know, just type in diddly and it comes up.
I'll double check now, triple check.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why it's not coming up.
Yeah, just checked again and nothing.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's so weird. Do you use the app or the desktop?
Desktop
Like desktop app and stuff?
for trading view.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
When was the last time that you like closed it and opened it back up like fully?
It's been a little while, so I'll try that as
Do,
well.
do it real quick to see, because I know to get it to pop up, I had to do that. So maybe
Okay.
that's it. I don't know.
All right, let me sign.
Browser.
Okay, I'll try right now.
See if it comes up on the browser. Mhm. Super charts. Now super charts.
Yeah, it's still not coming up.
Yeah,
I wonder-
same boat as you. I did the same thing, close it, restart it. Not popping up for me either. So
search for well, I know that if we can find, I wonder how you find the let me see something. Profile. Search. People.
Yeah, I shut it down. Opened in a new tab. Refreshed, and still nothing.
Okay, here. Do scripts published. This one, right? Um, it's- There was a link that I found, but I can't find it anymore. Of like adding it to your favorites. But I cannot for the life of me figure out where I found this so I could share the link. Yeah, so do me a favor. So for those of you that have any kind of problems or issues, I made a whatchamacallit, in the FXN indicators and tools on Discord, there's an indicators chat. If you have problems or anything, report issues or anything, put it into that chat so Rob can see it. Because he's the one that could fix any of that stuff. I can't even fathom coding any of that stuff. So that chat specifically for that indicator. So if you have problems, you can put like at Rob Minty, whatever, tag him at Rob Minty, and then put in your problem that you're having so he could actually look at it and give you, and tell you what to do, or he could fix it on the code or whatever. But I don't know. The ADR stuff is working here, Samantha. Is it when you go into replay mode, or what are you talking about?
No, it just like, it doesn't work at all. Like, I don't even see, like I'm on the desktop and I like got out of it, closed it down and everything. I don't even see any ADR at all. Like even from the previous day or nothing. And then like when I go to the settings, it shows that I put in 5,000 and then I put display ADR and historical labels, but nothing. And then like I said, I don't even see like an ADR at all. Nothing, no ADR on mine.
Well, I have it as 0. I have it at 0, but I just have it as display ADR and historical labels.
Okay, let me try.
That's all I have.
Yeah, I did that at first too, like before I put the 5,000 that you had and nothing, just nothing will pop up. I don't see like right now, no ADR. It's crazy. But I'll try to shut it down again and we'll see.
By the way, when you search for it, do you find it? Do you find the indicator, right?
Well, so the thing is, when I tried to search for it earlier, like on my phone, I wasn't able to find it, but I had already saved it yesterday onto my favorites. And I believe that that's why I was able to find it, because it's already saved to the favorites. So I didn't want to unsave it, because I believe if I do, I won't find it again.
Got you. I got you. Got it. All right. We'll get it all worked out. We'll figure stuff out. But again, this is why these things they take time. So yeah, so give it there. And then also be patient with Rob. He's only one person. And I mean, I don't even know how he's able to deal with all this stuff, but just, he's in London time. So if you're up, he may be sleeping or whatever the case may be. But if you just put it on there, he'll get to it. All right. Any other questions? Anything at all?
Real quick, so I just went to Rob's trading view page. There's a diddly utility script. Would that be it?
That's a different one now.
Okay.
Yeah. That's something completely different
Okay.
that he's working on. And I guess that's where I was trying to find the link for it, because before it was there listed, right? And now it's not listed there. So that's maybe why you can't find it. Maybe he did something. I don't know. I don't know what, if he's up or not, but what time is it in London right now?
$2:30 a.m.
Yeah, so
It's
he's probably
2:30
sleeping.
a.m. in London.
So yeah, so he's probably sleeping. So yeah, I'll talk to him in the morning during a London session or something. And because that was one way that I was able to see it, but it's not there anymore. So I don't know if it's yeah. So we'll figure it out tomorrow. And then I'll start using it myself to see what I can find that could be updated and changed also, because there's going to be things that we need to update also. So all right, so for those of you that have it, use it. Any bugs, report it. For those of you that don't have it, I'll talk to him this morning, make sure we can get it searchable at least. Okay. Yep.
Thanks, Mark.
No worries. Just continue to use, good old faithful. Good, good old the original one. So nothing harm, nothing foul. You're still able to use it. So all right, but we'll get there. It's one day, or it's the first day. So all right, so trade safe, you guys. Don't make any rash decisions this week. There's a lot of news coming out on Thursday, GDP numbers, and Friday, GDP numbers also for Canada. So I think Wednesday is probably going to be the best day to trade. There's no news. And possibly Tuesday. So, all right. Talk to you guys
Thank
later,
you.
man.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yep. Have a good one.
You too, man.